In today's world, woke culture has taken over. Those of us who don't identify as woke are often accused of denying people's lived experiences. Whether this be the experience of a black person and their experiences of racism, or a woman and their experience of sexism and the patriarchy, or even a trans person and their experience of being the opposite or a completely different gender than they were assigned at birth. So the question is, does lived experience equal truth? Deep down inside we all know it's simply not true that it does, and this video is going to show why. Firstly, we must establish what it means to just believe a person's lived experience. This means from a logical standpoint the person who is accepting this is saying a lived experience is sufficient to determine truth of said claim. In logical terms, this would read like this. If a person claims they have lived experience X, then lived experience X must be true. Logically, what this means is that for all instances of the variable X, a person's lived experience of X must be sufficient for us to know what they experienced was true. So, can we show that everyone knows this is false beyond a shadow of a doubt? Let's see. What we would need to do to prove this is to show an example of X where we know it's false, but we also know people claim it as a lived experience. Probably the easiest way to do this would be to show that people's lived experiences would prove contradictory things, using this logic. So I am going to look at another controversial topic, religion. Here is Sharon, she is a Christian. Her lived experience tells her that she has a personal relationship with Jesus. So based on the woke logic, we can see the logic goes like this. If a person claims they have a lived experience of a personal relationship with Jesus, then the lived experience of a personal relationship with Jesus must be true. Now, we all also know that if Jesus is the real God, that Allah of the Islamic faith is not, and vice versa, these gods would contradict each other's existence. Yet we all know that there exists a person, let's call her Umrah. Well, she too claims her lived experience of Allah as her God. This must also be true if we follow the woke logic to its conclusion. Yet this can't be true, as we know one conclusion must be false. Okay, so now that we know the logic is flawed, what can we say? We can say that it is okay not to accept something as fact just because of lived experience. We are going to need further proof. This does not mean that the lived experience is necessarily false either, just that it needs more support to back it up. We can now say that indeed it is not logical to just assume something is true because of lived experience. We know of far too many examples where lived experiences are false. This video touched on one of many contradictions in the religious world alone. I know I will be called a bigot, a racist, a sexist, a misogynist, and a transphobe. None of which are actually true, but we all know the two types of people the woke leftist cult can't accept are a straight white biological male and also a person who uses logic. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight.